Hey YouTube fans and Facebook fans, social media fans, we're here at Martin Motorsports in Norman, Oklahoma with Ryan Martin with Fireball. Ryan, how you doing today?
I'm good. We are, it's Tuesday. Is today Tuesday, right? I think, yeah. So it's Tuesday and we are headed tomorrow to go do a little testing before the Bella Rose New Orleans event, which is the second to the last event in No Prep Kings. And as you can see over here, if you want to turn the camera over that way for just a little bit. So today we're finishing up some stuff to the gray car. So we've got 2 events left for the gray car, 2 No Prep Kings. You guys, I'm sure, have been keeping up. We got the second to the last one in the championship finals in Bradenton, Florida. We did some things today to that thing. Decided to, you know, I've always got a spare transmission in the trailer, and we decided to put a fresh spare transmission in it. We got a bunch of runs on the one that's in it. We did not want to have any problems. Like, you know, we're trying to give this thing every shot at not having any type of parts failure on these last 2 races. Every round for me is important. I'm going into these last 2 races with a 40-point lead, but even a 40-point lead is only with the double points, a 40-point lead could only be 4 rounds. So needless to say, every little bit counts. I need to try to go out here and win out in these next 2 events, which is going to be very tough. It's going to be very difficult to do. But I think we can do it. If there's a team that can do it, I feel like that we can. But to finish what I was saying, so we changed the 3rd member. The rear gears have a bunch of runs on them. So we put a fresh set of gears in it. We put a fresh transmission in it. We took the converter apart. We put new bearings in the converter. Just tried to find anything that could fail, that hasn't failed, and fix it before it breaks. We just need to make it through these next 2 races without any parts failures.
Sounds good. Ryan, we've started a new thing on YouTube, and we're going to take 5-6 questions from the fans.
Yep.
And our first one is going to be from Kate Allen. Kate 33 wants to know, what was your favorite classic car, and what has been your favorite track to race at?
Oh, those are good questions. I would say right now my favorite classic car is, I've been looking for a 70 Chevelle. So if you guys have paid attention to my social media stuff, I've even put stuff out there saying, hey, I'm looking for a clean car. And what I want doesn't exist, but I'm looking for like a 70 Chevelle SS roller that I can do like a late model LT4 or something in. But I would have to say that right now, if I'm picking, it's probably going to be a 70 Chevelle. And then as far as my favorite track to race at, what's that? As far as my favorite track to race at, I'm probably going to say maybe Bandimere, Colorado. Forever it's been Bandimere, Colorado. So Bandimere is bittersweet to me. Location-wise, the track facility, the fact that it's cut into the side of a mountain, that makes that like my favorite racetrack. But the downside of it is, it's also where my car runs the worst. It is the highest elevation. So I like it and I hate it at the same time. But I would say I'm gonna stick with that. Now, the other side of it, I have a couple of favorite tracks that are like old as, I mean, we're talking 70, 80 plus years old, blacktop, grass growing through the middles of the track and stuff like that. I really like those racetracks too. Javi, what was the name of that? What was the name of that crazy racetrack we went to? English Mountain. English Mountain, yeah. English Mountain is probably one of my other favorite racetracks.
Fantastic. All right, sounds good. Ryan, we got Nick Bone, 24 from Illinois, and he wants to know if you would give him some advice, what would you give to a younger guy building a car to hopefully become a street outlaw?
Advice to become a street outlaw, that's like the $1 million question. I feel like there's so many people. I get that question from 5-year-old kids to 75-year-old guys that are wanting to race. That's tough. You know, to be honest with you, obviously having a car that fits the rules. Heck, some of the guys we race with don't even have cars that fit the rules. But that being said, if you've got a big tire car that meets the rules, which is still roof, still quarters, you know, that's the spirit of the class. So the spirit of the class is a bunch of horsepower, a big tire, but all done underneath a steel roof and quarter car. So it still resembles a steel roof and quarter car. So that's your first start. Once you come up with that, you could look up your nearest MPK event, which, you know, this past year there was 15 of these things. They were all over the country. Literally, there was one in anybody's backyard. Go show up to the big tire class or the future class or something, and go try to race. You know, that's like it's not, but it's almost like tryouts, right? So if you're going somewhere, you can't go pop into one of our street shootings because, you know, our street filmings, because people just don't allow that. But if you wanted to get your foot in the door, in my opinion, the way to do it is through MPK.
Thank you, Ryan. Amy Schrader from Colorado, 47. How many passes does the engine have before you tear it down and refresh?
Yeah, that's a good question. So it depends, but I will answer it like this. What the serviceable items on the motors that we're running right now in both the Fireball car and the gray car are Hemis. The most important wear item in those motors is the connecting rods. The connecting rods are aluminum. They have a service life. Everybody has a difference of opinion on what the service life is. For me, the service life of those rods is 25 runs. So we don't usually abort runs. Most of our runs are full, hard passes. Some guys will go, well, I aborted 6 runs, and so if I did that, I'm not really going to count those as full runs. We just kind of decided towards the beginning we were gonna say if we did a burnout, that was a run. So if we do a burnout and we smoke the tires, that's 1 run. You guys, if you look, pay attention close enough, you'll see marks on the intake, marks on the blower, marks on the drive for the blower, marks on the tires. We keep track of how many passes are on everything. So to tear the motor down, we try to go 25 runs. So to answer that question, we go 25 runs, we pull the cylinder heads off of it, we pull the pistons and rods out, we pull the connecting rod off of the piston and ring assembly, put a new connecting rod in it, etch the number of what's on it. So if it's a number 7, we put number 7, we put it back in St. We put it back in number 7. So 25 runs, we tear the motor down. But the only thing we replace is the rods. These things live, they're really good, strong motors. They live for a long time as long as you keep the rods in their service life. When you've seen people having catastrophic engine failure, it is because they've gone too long. There's guys that go, haha, I've got 80 passes on my rods. And you can do that, but one day you won't have that. And then when you don't, the rod exits the motor and it does it usually through the side of the block, and then you got a mess. So I learned early on, it's roughly $20,000 to $25,000 to fix a motor after you window it. When you window it is when the rod breaks and exits out the side. So it's a whole lot cheaper to buy a set of $1,500 rods and put in that motor every 25 passes. So 25 passes, we tear the motor apart.
That was a great question, Ryan. This is actually a 2-parter from Amy, and our second question is, what was your most memorable race you've ever had?
My most memorable race I've ever had. Oh, I would have to say, you know, there's a couple that pop into my head. I'm going to say this. The championship round in 2019, when we won the championship at No Prep King Season 3, was against Kai Kelly. You know, it was the dude that I was fighting with for second, you know, for the position. Meaning, if he beat me out at that point in time, I think if I remember right, if he beat me out at that point in time and he won the race, he would have gotten the championship from me. I would have to say that's probably my most memorable, because I remember, you know, I just missed the first 2 seasons by 5 points the first season, and I don't remember what the second season won, but it seems like it was 5 points as well. And the third season, we were able to pull it off. And I just remember that it was like a bazillion pounds. Hey, what are you doing? Oh, hi, how are you? Oh, well, I'm right here. Dax is not here. Dax is with his aunt, Aunt Keggy.
Have him show those on the...
Oh, look, we got new stickers. Casey, what made you do these?
I just had an epiphany last night.
What was your epiphany?
I was saying, let's go Brandon. I was like, Brandon? Ryan. Oh, I was like,
sounds the same.
it sounds the same.
So you made Let's Go Ryan stickers.
Yeah.
Okay, what am I supposed to do with these?
Give them out, sell them, whatever you want to do.
Okay, I'm gonna do it.
Sign them, whatever.
Was this like NASCAR logo down here?
Yeah, that's the NASCAR logo.
So anyway, I would say my most memorable race was probably that. And you know, just after missing the first 2 championships and by so close, and being able to pull that win off in Ennis against Kai, you know, I felt like everybody, you know, the whole rest of other than the 405 guys, like most of the people did not want me to win, right? They just didn't. It just was what it was. So when we did, it was just like a relief, you know. And I kind of just sat down at the end of the track after we did that, and before all my guys and Cherish came and down there to congratulate me, and I just sat there. I was like, man, we finally did it. So that's probably my most memorable race, I would say, is that.
That's awesome, Ryan. Thank you. One more, we're going to have Greg Clare. He's actually from Bristol, England, and across the pond.
Yeah.
Greg, he says, Ryan, which do you prefer, MPK or street racing?
MPK or street racing? Also a $1 million question. Man, it's tough. It's 2 totally different. MPK and street racing is totally different. It's kind of like this. After you've been through a grueling MPK season, which you and I were just talking about this, but MPK has 15 races this year. Well, it is an exhausting season. The parts failures that you have on not just your race car, but your toter, your trailer, any other vehicle that you're using to pull. For us, we have an apparel trailer that follows us around so that our fans can get swag, and we have another truck that pulls that. We've had problems with we've put probably in the neighborhood of 25,000 miles on all of our rigs that have anything to do with this. And after a grueling season of MPK, which I love MPK, but after a grueling season, it is nice to stop and kind of regroup and go street racing, which appears to be more simple until you get there. And then all of a sudden you realize it's just as competitive, and it's just as hard, and the surfaces are more difficult, and the cars, you go to MPK and you go, hey, this guy's gonna be fast, this guy's gonna be fast, this guy's gonna be fast. You go to the street and everybody's fast because the street is the equalizer. And so you're trying to you can have the fastest car there with the most horsepower and not win the race. And that happens all the time. I see it all the time. Like, I've beaten the cars that are way faster than mine, and I've gotten beat by cars that probably shouldn't have outran me. So that's a tough question. It's 2 totally different things. A lot of people know that I came from a racing background, a track racing background, and so I think if I had to pick one, I'd probably pick MPK. But don't get me wrong, I enjoy every minute of getting to race on the street and compete with a whole different group of guys.
Perfect. Thank you, Ryan. Our last question for tonight is going to be, hey, Ryan, it's Peter Maderso, and he is from Massachusetts. Says, hey, Ryan, good luck rest of the season. How does it feel going that fast in the car?
It's a hard question to answer, too. Well, I think, when you first are doing it, so like all of us have, we have, what's the correct word here? We have gradually made it to where we are today. Progressed, I think is the word. So, we probably started out back when we were all younger, running 15s, 14s, 13s, 12, 11, 10, 9, and so on and so forth. And here we are today with cars that are crazy fast, and we all, arguably between the street and MPK and anybody that you've seen on any Street Outlaws based show, we have the fastest cars in the country. And so that being said, it's graduated to that point. So I think you lose a little bit of, man, how does it feel? Like, is it crazy? People come up to me all the time, like, man, what's the G's feel like in that thing? If it pulls 3.2 or 3.3 G's on the starting line, is it fast? Of course it's fast, but it loses a little bit of its sensitivity when you've just gradually gotten faster through the years to where you are today. I get fans come through the line all the time in MPK and they go, man, you get scared when you're driving? Is it crazy? Does it really put you back in the seat? Yes, it puts you back in the seat. No, really don't get scared. I feel like I've just been doing this for so long that I'm almost desensitized a little bit and used to it. Now, I can still feel when the car's on a good pass and I let go of the button and it's hooked up good and it's one of the faster passes that I've made, I still go, okay, this was a good one. It doesn't really go, oh my gosh, the craziest thing in the world. It used to. It's just lost that a little bit. I don't know if that makes sense or not. That's my best way to describe how that feels in the race car. But if you're anywhere near the next MPK that we're going to this weekend, come by if you haven't seen a show. You get to see the fastest guys in no prep, in street racing. A lot of the guys are there if you haven't been to one of them, you can't understand until you see the cars making passes. So get out there, come see us, come shake our hands. A lot of the guys, your favorite guys, have apparel for sale. You get to see their cars close up. You can get within 5 foot of my car. A lot of times we'll throw kids in the car and let them sit in and stuff like that. So if you can get out there, get out there. As far as the questions go, we appreciate the questions. We're trying to do this to give you guys more of an inside look. I know a lot of people, I see all over my Instagram and all over Facebook, we see all the questions that you guys have, and we can't always, we're thrashing, trying to get to the next race or whatever. We don't always get the time to take time to answer those questions for you. So we're trying to do it like this, pick out 5 or 10 questions a week and try to get back to you guys a little bit. So if you got something good, post it up somewhere. We'll be watching.